spent the summer devising a whole new Quidditch program. We're going to train earlier, harder, and longer. What? I don't believe it. Where do you think you're going, Flint?
Quidditch practice.
I booked the pitch for Gryffindor today.
Easy, Wood. I've got a note.
Oh, that's no trouble.
I, Professor Severus Snape, do hereby give the Slytherin team permission to practice today, owing to the need to train their new Seeker. You've got a new Seeker. Who?
Malfoy? That's right. That's not all that's new this year. Those are Nimbus 2001s. How did you get those?
A gift from Draco's father.
You see, Weasley, unlike some, my father can afford the best.
At least no one on the Gryffindor team had to buy their way in. They got it on pure talent.
No one asked your opinion, you filthy little mudblood. She'll pay for that one, Malfoy. Eat slugs!
You okay, Ron? Say something. Wow! Can you turn it around, Harry?
No, Colin, get out of the way. Let's take him to Hagrid. He'll know what to do.
What's going on, ladies and gents in Cyberland? Coming back to you with another film review. This time we're on to a sequel to Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I like to also say Sorcerer's Stone. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So after the first movie came out, all of a sudden immediately the second movie came out. I was like, damn, man, did y'all even have a break between the first two movies? Like, it was just like one after the other, and it almost felt like and they could get away with it because the kids were growing, but it felt like the second film, like, they finished production on the first film and they already were like, editing, we don't need any more stuff, we're more likely not going to need more filming. So they're editing, but while they're editing, all of a sudden the whole cast runs off to start working on the second film immediately. Like, Warner Brothers didn't give them any break to make the second film because it came out, I don't know, less than, like, the first film came out this year, 2001. Second film came out 2002, but it felt like it came out like 9 months after the first film. Like, there wasn't a lot of time to process, you know. And for the most part, the second film, now, I don't remember if I saw the second film in theaters. I think I did. I think I did. The second film was cool. It was darker. Definitely darker. However, it wasn't as good as the first film to me. And my reasoning was, at first, I thought I loved the film. But when I read the book, and then I went back to the movie, I realized there was just too much stuff that was cut out that didn't make it as good as it could have been. There's things with Malfoy's father that should have been in there. Particularly, I really felt that should have been in there. There was things with, you know, the Chamber of Secrets. The Quidditch matches were really cut down. And overall, it felt rushed. And it didn't flow as much as the first one. And then on top of that, and I gotta just keep it 100 with anybody watching, outside of the history of who Thomas Riddle is, that was the best thing about the Chamber of Secrets book. It's not a terrible book, it's just all the other books are so much better. It's not the Chamber of Secrets, it's a bad story, it's just all the other stories are better. At the end of the day, they're all better than Chamber of Secrets. They're just better stories. I'm not saying J.K. Rowling wrote it dead or anything, because when I read the second book and I watched the second when I watched the second movie before I read the second book, I thought it was better than the first one. But then when I read the book, then I was like, okay, the first book is better than the second book. I felt that, even though the second book was darker, and the first movie was better than the second movie. Also because based on the book, the movie hurt because there was just stuff that was cut out that they should have just made the film a little longer. I felt that kind of hurt the film, and I know you can only go so long, but for Chamber of Secrets, I felt if they had put just some other scenes in the film from the book, it would have made the film stronger. The second film just felt a little too rushed and not as much time spent on story as well as it could have been. Also, Dobby was a pain in the fucking ass. I've never been a fan of Dobby. I just didn't really care for the character. I understand his purpose, and he had a great purpose, and he's a great character. I just don't care for the character. I'm not saying he's a bad character. He's well written. I just don't care for his personality. It just kind of gets on my nerves. And the highlight of Chamber of Secrets, besides Riddle, to me, was Draco Malfoy's father, Lucius Malfoy. I think, especially for the film of Jason Isaacs, that he was incredible. I every time he was in out of all the Harry Potter films, Jason Isaacs is probably one of my favorite actors of the Harry Potter films, besides Alan Rickman, of course, and the other cast members. But those two guys in particular, I always loved them on screen in these films. They just they're just amazing. Also, Gary Oldman was I loved him too. And the thing is, I felt Lucius was the highlight of the book and Thomas Riddle, and they were also the highlight of the film for me. Those were my favorite scenes when the person behind the curtain comes out with Thomas Riddle, and the fact of Lucius when Jason Isaacs stepped onto the scene. Anytime he had something to say, I thought he was kick-ass. I really enjoyed him. Even though he was just a grade A scumbag, he was still great in the role. Like, they did a really good job of casting him to play Lucius. He was just amazing. And outside of that, I mean, the Chamber of Secrets story is not a bad story. It's just, in the movie, there was just, stuff cut from the book, like I said. And I think what was missing from the film, too, was just the Quidditch was really lacking. Outside of the one match, I just felt we could have had at least one more match in there. I think that would have been, if you're not going to have a lot of scenery, at least put a little bit more Quidditch in the story. Just put something, I felt it was just lacking in entertainment. It wasn't as entertaining as the first. It wasn't as exciting as the first, even though the second film and the book are darker than the first movie and the first book. My rating for the film is a 7 out of 10, yes sirs. I give it a 7 because, like I said, the film. I felt the film was too short. I felt the film was rushed compared to the first, and it was, because if you look at the time frame when they filmed it, and then also, just not putting as much in the book and the movie as they could have. They should have made that film probably another 25 minutes longer. I know sometimes you want to think concise, but these books have so much material. They have so much enriched scenes and dialogue that it would have been just great to get a little bit more of the book in the movie. I think that would have made it a stronger film. But nonetheless, it's still good. It's just when I rank the films, I always put Chamber of Secrets at the bottom. Again, not because it's a bad story, Not because the book is a bad book. It's because everything that came out, book 1 and then book 3 through 7 are stronger stories than book 2. I'm just saying. It's almost like 2 is really kind of like still part of 1 to an extent, and then a little like it doesn't feel like a full year. Maybe if the book feels like a full year, but the movie doesn't feel like a full year. I think that's also the issue with the movie. Whereas the first movie felt like a full year, the second movie just felt kind of like half of the year didn't get represented on screen. If you understand what I'm saying. So with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care.